YouTube, it's Tone. I'm back with another one for you. And this one is a continuation of the Redemption Manual 5. So, this is an awesome fucking book, man. So, I'm glad you guys like it. I see a lot of fucking views on it, so we're gonna stick with this shit. Let's get right into this motherfucker. Let's get right into this motherfucker. And I'll do it in intervals too, because it gets kind of crazy to have to try to fucking put all the different time slides together. When it gets past like 5 or 10, that shit gets fucking retarded. So we're gonna do it in like 9, 10 slide intervals. So while at this time of our history, the fad is to have fun, yet many do not see the reality that they are living in a fictional world. While we want our children to have fun and live safe, go to college, live the good life, we are often pricked into a jolt of commercial reality in regards to fine, fees, taxes, debts, and the like, having to go to court, whether for traffic or for other matters. Then we experience the pain of the economic needle extracting our energy. Your labor is converted into what you think is dollars, which is really just paper, along with the message that go forth and be a good citizen subject, do what you're told, shut up, and be sure to vote. Within this fictional world of make-believe, the masses are subjected to playing a gigantic monopoly game, and that's exactly what it is, where there is no real money and the bankers habitually win. Now look at the color of monopoly money and Google the color of U.S. currency. There is no difference, because there is no difference. So, as such, from time to time again, reliable sources, including attorneys, reveal that law has no bearing on what happens in court proceedings as much as the procedure of which only known to bar members, judges, prosecutors, attorneys, including the very defense attorney you were gullible enough to use, hire, or who was compelled upon you, who carefully and methodically extract either all your time, community service, labor, money, bails, liens, levy, garnishment, fines, restitutions, property, child, home, car, bank account, or your liberty, detention, jail, prison, probation, right? Again, you can think of all these things as energy or the control thereof. No one told you that your attorney can only represent your debtor, an artificial person entity. No one told you that your court proceedings are purely administrative and not judicial, as the organic constitution, state and federal mandate. In these administrative proceedings, why is it that the so-called courts do not explain the nature and cause of the action, never prove jurisdiction, and never allow you to have your counsel or of your choice, and never allow the jury to decide the law in a case trial? Maybe those administrative tribunals are not constitutional judicial courts of due process. Welcome to America, comrade. Or maybe you turned on the radio or television and heard yet another politician praising the passage of a bill of which neither the politician nor the other members of Congress ever read, let alone ever having brought it before unbiased masses for scrutiny. Right? So they can't just pass fucking random ass laws and then try to hold you fucking accountable for them. Because really, who gives a fuck what a bunch of white dudes wrote in a fucking room somewhere, bro? I don't give a fuck, and you shouldn't either. And this is on top of the fact that they didn't write this shit either. So they hold the fuck on. Who did write this motherfucker? Off with his head. So nearly every bill passed restricts more and more in profound ways freedom of speech, property rights, and freedom of travel, while at the same time give public servants more and more power and authority over having to be accountable to the people. Public servant trying to get crazy. You see that shit? You see the irony in that? Or maybe you received another tax bill, federal, state property, or traffic ticket, or a child support payment bill, or realize that the inflation is a hidden tax devaluing all that you have. While looking at your bank balance or what's left in your wallet, you realize, hey, I didn't have the money to pay. I don't have the money to pay this. And due to the situation, you might just end up in jail or doing community service work to pay off this debt to society. Wow, don't you get a gold star for the day, it says. Funny, man. That shit is funny. Gotta admit. So we'll go to the next slide. So what you will come to understand, learn to know is that the United States, the federal corporation, went bankrupt in 1933. And as a result of further acts, removed the substance backing our nation's money, replacing it with the bankruptcy script of a private corporation called the Federal Reserve Bank. Sometime in the 1960s, the Uniform Commercial Code was adopted by most all states. The Uniform Commercial Code is the federal common law of negotiable instruments and governs all transaction because there is no lawful money substance backing the money, being gold or silver. Therefore, you have not paid your bills nor paid for anything pursuant to the law of payment since 1933. All you have ever done is discharge debt. And that's all that we can do. There's credits and debits, and that's all that there is. That's why we do the private bank and the money orders and all that, which we'll be starting the little group classes shortly anyway, too cheap. Until a future time, without ever obtaining title, the government, because they are bankrupt, has had no finance in its operation to survive with taxes because, like a parasite, it can only live from your energy. All right, so the government is a fucking bankrupt organization and they need your fucking energy. They need your currency, the current that you provide as an energetic being. It created artificial entities, ens legis, because being a corporation or trust corporation, so that it could tax it, and in doing so, send you the tax bill or other presentments, fines, fees, taxes, and operating this scheme against you. You think the presentment is in your name, with them having the nexus to the live flesh and blood private man, when in reality the government has divested you of your right, titles, and interests and properties and wealth by and through an undisclosed and non-disclosed commercial program to rape, pillage, and plunder the American people to keep the private government corporations functioning. The government can only survive by living off of you. And that's exactly what it is. Because what are they going to do without the fucking people anyway? On top of the fact that it's literally in their title that they're public fucking servants, right? So and who the fuck they going to serve if you ain't here? So in this book and the additional books in the series and others, you will learn, understand, and know what the truth is, what the facts are, and what the solution is to recapture or redeem your right, titles, interest, property, and wealth, and put yourself in the position with standing and capacity, status, and knowledge, right? And it only comes from reading and shit like that. I know a lot of you don't want to read, so I'm doing it for you. So now you can listen. So keep in mind as you begin reading this manual, things within the redemption have evolved from the beginning and continue to do so even now. You must take the effort to stay updated, updated and current to the best of your ability as to any new aspect or matters dealing with the redemption, because they do change they change the codes and statutes sometimes when they see that we're getting too fucking nice with it. They'll go ahead and try and throw a curveball and shit. But it's all good. The one thing that fucking remains here the whole time is always principles. You know what I'm saying? So, and when you understand that everything is commercial, you understand how to operate within the commercial finance system. It's always going to be the same principles, right? So they'll just change stupid little things here and there, but it's always gonna be commercial. So the historical concept is this: that the American people are still the sovereign power. The Bible teaches that that the Israelites, Ishman, Ra, ruling, El, God, man ruling with God, are the kings and priests of Israel. Right, so, and I mean, Israel is Israel, right? Ra is El. So whatever, either way, when the county was supposedly freed from the conclusion of the Revolutionary War, the concept was established that a man is a king in his own castle. Last but not least, the people have succeeded to the rights of the king. The former sovereign of the state, they are not therefore bound by general words in a statute, restricted or prerogative without being expressly named. And that's what I'm telling you too. If you don't find the law where you're fucking naming it, the shit don't apply to you. They try to have these little blanket broad statements and shit like that, broadcasting their fucking spells as if anybody gives a fuck. It's like, bro, my name's not in any of that shit, so go ahead and fuck off. Talk to you later. So because there is no other way today to pay the debt, as there is no lawful money, your status was changed to debtor slave on the plantation for the financial benefit of corporate government. Before you is a path like the yellow brick road to Oz, what you will learn will affect you from this day forward one way or another. Freedom is the truth is like a double-edged sword. With redemption comes a lot of responsibility to know and understand all that is necessary to become the secure party creditor and eventually sovereign with the SPC, to understand the reality of people by the people and for the people. As the creditor, you are the banker. Therefore, would you not agree that you have a lot to learn? And we do have a lot to learn. All of us do. And I mean, it's a never-ending it's fucking never-ending, to be real with you. This isn't something that you're ever going to get to a point where you're like, hey, I think I know enough, because the more that you learn, you're going to see how much you fucking don't know. And that's just what it is. And it really ain't that serious. The fundamental principles essentially are going to be the underlying factors. Focus on those. Commercially capture your straw man, because it's not you. commercially capture your fucking monopoly piece, and then you can whip your own slave. You know what I'm saying? So the Treasury indicated that around January of 2001 that there were over 11 million transaction chargebacks sent in. Wow. So that's how many people have been fucking taking their shit back. Over 11 million transaction chargebacks sent in, which equates to over 11 million secure party. That's why they're fucking losing this fucking game, bro. These niggas already lost. Cause that was back then. And this bet there had to have been a shitload more. So this is why it takes a little bit of time when you go to discharge your shit and stuff like that, is because look how many people are actually fucking doing this shit, man. That's fucking good to see. So over 11 million secure party creditors on board, and around mid-year 2002, the number was increased to 22 million. So it looks like now, I mean, I would imagine that over 100 million people are already on this shit. So they're already done. So, but those numbers are there as little internal access to the Treasury have in no way been verified. However, you can now become part of this growing base of informed, knowledgeable, secure party creditors, men and women who, as intended by our God and due the reality of our day and time, are moving forward as those who being above government corporations are taking their rightful position over the government servant who operate those bankrupt corporations to understand the commercial scheme and set the wrong right in good faith. Understand. In commerce, truth is sovereign, and therefore the sovereign always deals in truth in commerce. And this is what we do, right? And this is why you gotta move with honor, because in the end, you're always gonna win. Even if it looks like you're losing, you still win. So with that, as the movie Matrix, you are holding the blue pill. You want to know the truth and a whole lot more. You may proceed into the process program dubbed redemption, and you may stay on the path to learn what has been kept from you, so that you may discover in reality what is behind the curtain. When any government or any church, for that matter, undertakes to say to its subjects, this you may not read, you must not see, this is forbidden to know, the end result is tyranny, oppression, no matter how holy the motives are. And that's what it is, right? And so even in the Bible, they try to fucking switch it and be like, oh, fucking education is the devil. Don't seek anything outside of this. This is all you need to know. Man, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. That shit don't even make any sense. So you want to become a sovereign, but what does that mean? What is a straw man? Is a person really a person? Before we delve deeper, let's read some definitions to understand what you will be reading in this book, because words without meaning are just empty and meaningless. What is a sovereign from the 8th edition of the Black's Law Dictionary? Sovereign, adjective of state, characteristics of or endowed with supreme authority. And that's exactly who the fuck I am. And nobody's going to tell me who the fuck I am. Nobody's going to fucking tell me who the fuck I am, especially a fucking servant. You disrespectful little fucks. You're not going to come over here talking down to your fucking master, bro. Shut the fuck up with that crazy shit. Sovereign, a person, body, or state vested with independent and supreme authority. The ruler of an independent state, also spelled sovereign. See sovereign. What is sovereignty? Sovereignty is the quality of having supreme independent authority over a geographic area, such as a territory. It can be found in a power to rule and make law that rests on a political fact, which no purely legal explanation can be provided. In theoretical terms, the idea of sovereignty, historically from Socrates or Hobbes, has always necessitated a moral imperative of the entity exercising it. All right, so since you're born on whatever territory that you're born on, you automatically have fucking sovereignty in that fucking place, and you have birthrights to all the fucking minerals, etc. Everything there is fucking yours. These motherfuckers try to make you feel like a stranger in your own land, though. Right? Because they're fucking mind-controlling little shit. So for centuries past, the idea that a state could be sovereign was always connected to its ability to guarantee the best interests of its own citizens. Thus, if a state could not act in the best interests of its own citizens, it could not be thought of as a sovereign. So straw man, a fictitious person, especially one that is weak or flawed, a tenuous or exaggerated counter-argument that an advocate put forward for the sole purpose of disproving it, also termed straw man argument. A third party used in some transaction as a temporary transferee to allow the principal parties to accomplish something that is otherwise impermissible. So it would be the interaction between a live living person and a corporation, which so the court is a corporation, the So it would be impermissible for a corporation to interact with a live living man. Therefore, you have a conduit. That's what the straw man is. It's your fucking monopoly piece. Person, an entity such as a corporation that is recognized by law as having the right duties of a human being. In this sense, the term includes partnership and other associations, whether incorporated or unincorporated. So far as legal theory is concerned, a person is any being whom the law regards as capable of rights and duties. Any being that is so capable as a person, whether a human being or not, and no being that is not so capable is a person. Even though he may be a man, persons are the substances of which rights and duties are the attributes. It is only in this respect that the person possesses juridical significance, and this is the exclusive point in the view from which personality receives legal recognition. The concept of sovereignty is one of the most complex in political science, with many definitions, some totally contradictory. Of course, because these motherfuckers always want to be changing the definitions in the dictionaries, because they can't change the laws, so they'll change the dictionaries and then try to apply them to older laws that obviously mean something different. These niggas are not slick, right? So sovereignty is defined in one of two ways. The first definition applies to supreme public power, which has the right and, in theory, the capacity to impose its authority in the last instance. The second definition refers to the holder of the legitimate power who is recognized to have authority. When national sovereignty is discussed, the first definition applies, and it refers in particular to independence, understood as freedom of a collective entity to act. When popular sovereignty is discussed, the second definition applies. The sovereignty is associated with power and legitimacy. From what is sovereignty? Apparently, that's a book. And from the same article comes this. The problem with sovereignty appears at the end of the Middle Ages, when the question posed was no longer about the best form of government or the limits of political authority, but about the relation between the government and the people, the relation between ruler and the ruled in a political community. So then there is this interpretation. So what we have here is so there are not different kinds of sovereignty. A sovereignty state is not a particular form of constitution, such as a monarchy or a republic or a democracy, nor is it a particular style of governance. Sovereignty is a political and legal foundation upon which various sorts of states can be erected and styles of government carried on. It states a sovereign there, ruling authority, will have the same basic characteristics of supremacy and independency, no matter how they are. Okay. All right, so let's get into this. So otherwise, constitution or govern. So you see from the above definition and quotes that sovereignty is something that has been around for a while. So you are now delving deeper into a subject that is centuries old, and one which is practiced all over the world by different peoples of the world. Maybe it was your curiosity that got the better of you, and you want to research this further and see if this is a legitimate solution. I mean, I'm going to tell you it is. So I am here to tell you that this is, okay, so even the book's saying it. I'm here to tell you that this is a legitimate solution because it is an inherent right to all living, breathing human beings who desire to be free from the yoke of any government who has become tyrannical toward its own people. Not only that, but we are the government, and you should know that. So we are the masters and the slaves. And it is, you are the question and the answer. And to quote from Thomas Jefferson, when the people fear their government, there is tyranny. When the government fears their people, then there is liberty. Right? When you stand the fuck up, they're going to say, okay, you can have what you want. No shit, I can have what I want because you're the fucking servant. Don't get out of line, bro. Don't get out of line, nigga. So when wrongs are pressed because it is believed that they will be born, resistance becomes morality. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance. And that's a fact. So there are not different kinds of sovereignty. A sovereign state is not a particular form of constitution, such as a monarchy, republic, or democracy, nor is it a particular style of governance. Sovereignty is a political and legal foundation upon which various sorts of states can be erected and styles of government carried on. If a state is sovereign, their ruling authority will have the same basic characteristics of supremacy and independency, no matter how they are. Otherwise, constitution is governed. So you see from the above definition, the quote, sovereignty is something that has been around for a while. So now you come... why the fuck am I reading this shit twice? because the shit is here twice. Anyway, so when wrongs are oppressed because it's believed that they will be born, resistance becomes morality. May God guide you and bless you on this journey. So we got one more slide here. Yeah, so I mean, apparently they put that shit, they put that shit twice in the same fucking thing. I didn't even catch that. All right, so last slide. So merchants of fiction. If the truth were obvious to the common people, or shall we say the untrained eye, everyone would understand it and agree. In fact, the more one focuses on the significant issues, the less obvious the truth appears to be. So what tools do you have at your disposal for comprehending the larger objective truths outside of your own immediate experience? Unless you are a dedicated student of life with lots of time on your hand to read, travel, and do research by default and or general acquiescence, all you probably have time for are the sound bites of established and very controlled money kings, print and entertainment news sources. What is your level of assurance that these popular indoctrination sources of information are trustworthy? And that's all that they are. All of these news is just fucking propaganda. So it is possible that the larger truth is so far from obvious that you wouldn't even know it if it bit you. I suggest that this is much closer to reality than you might expect. In this movie, A Few Good Men, Keith, the character played by Tom Cruise, I want the truth, and Jessup, the character played by Jack Nicholson, fires back, you can't handle the truth. And I mean, the truth is fucking crazy. Way stranger than fiction, I'll tell you that right the fuck now. So 9 out of 10 people when interviewed will insist that they want the truth. They really believe that they do. However, if you qualify this question, when you ask it, even if it were painful, the number drops to 4 and 10. Look at that. So people don't even fucking want the truth if the shit hurts. So 4 out of 10 people actually want to know even if it hurts. Come on. So run the experiment and you'll see what I mean. This tendency to reject new information when the chosen response is one of discomfort or pain is described in the cognitive dissonance theory, a scientific theory of attitude change which proposes that awareness of inconsistencies among individual beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors produces an aversive state or tension or discomfort. And that's what I'm telling you. So cognitive dissonance sets in when you hear information contrary to the popular belief or the way you believe in. It literally triggers the same spot in your brain as pain, and therefore you shut it out and go right back to the lies. They already knew this. This is why they fucking mind control programmed everybody, MK Ultra everybody, okay? So you got to get past that. And it's a fucking emotional process too, mind you. So furthermore, dissonance increases with important decisions, and dissimilarity between alternative resistance to change is described in terms of effort justification. A tendency to believe in one considerable amount of effort is exerted to achieve a goal, that the goal is important and worthwhile. The principle is at the heart of the hazing ritual by sporting teams, fraternities, and sororities. When dissonance occurs, the individual will attempt to reduce it through a number of coping mechanisms. If he perceived the level of pain overwhelms other coping skills, the individual will choose denial, and you'll immediately go into fucking denial. Others will attempt to reduce dissonance by justifying one's behavior with external inducements are insufficient to fully justify it. This occurs when the individual has high trust with self, behavior is congruent with principles, and has paid a high price in the past to seek out and adapt their lives to evolving understanding of the truth. A struggle will play out within the individual in which they will do whatever necessary to test their new information until a determination can be made to its validity. The new information is not constrained by what is already known. And that's the thing, is that I mean, you're gonna see when you start, try this shit on people that introduce the concept, and you're gonna see how fast they fucking tell you that you're crazy, you're gonna go to jail, this shit is wrong, blah blah blah. Because in order for them to understand that what you're saying is actually facts, they're gonna have to come to terms with the fact that they've been wrong their whole life, that for one, and that they taught you everything wrong your whole life because they were fucking lied to. So they've been lying to you, inadvertently lying to you, and they fucked up your whole shit because they didn't have the balls to stand up and look at and see things for what they really were. So there's a lot that's gonna happen inside these people's minds, and it's usually the older people that have a hard time doing this, because not only that do they have to come to terms with all of that, they have to realize that that they got fooled their whole fucking life and they got fucking played. And nobody really wants to see you doing better than them, no matter how much they fucking tell you that, you know, or who they are, or in your family. They always feel like they should be doing better and shit. So nobody really wants to see you doing better. They don't want to know that you found the fucking answer, because then that makes them feel stupid. And it always comes from something from them. It's always something from them. But it's always ego based. I know that. It's always ego based. So this is a game of chess. Stop playing checkers with these fucking assholes. That's what I got for you for now. Until we meet again.